So everybody, can you hear me? We are heading back now. I'm Helton. Can you hear me, anyone? Could you just say yes?
Let's start, then we'll come back.
Start.
I think soon.
Okay, so I think you should be hearing me. Let me see if there's someone say yes. Nicole, thank you very much. So everybody, as I said, there was a lot today already. There's a lot of discussion. I appreciate your endurance, your patience. All these issues that we were just having all the discussions here. There was a lot of attendance. I counted 30 people in the whole session, so it's really a good number. And thank you so much for bearing with us. The other side is to hold any hybrid event, holds those surprises. And hello. So we are welcoming back our colleagues here inside the room. So as I was saying, everybody, this is a very, very soft launch of our research group, and should be quite short, because after today we still have a aperitif, so we still have the chance to talk to each other, to get to know each other better. And I can't wait to that part. And those at home, so feel free to talk to us, to chat. I'll be always looking to chat from today until tomorrow, so don't need to worry about timing. We'll be always there for you to reply to you. So today is the Urban Media Participatory Spaces. I kindly call it OOPS. I think it's quite a little bit weird, OOPS, but this is what led us here. So just to give you a little bit of the background, how did we think about this center, this research group, and why do we want to do that, and why are we doing all this, including the symposium, where the symposium lies inside this initiative. And feel free to interrupt me anytime you have a question or have something I'm not saying. So first of all, I'm going to talk about, first of all of you are experts. I don't want to say anything this is against your knowledge. Feel free to also to correct me or to compliment me. My name is Helton, as I said, that we've been here already for some hours. And Eleonora. So we are so far the co-founders of this research group. So this research group, just to give you a very informal recap. So we started this research groups already 2 years. It's something we came up with the idea. So it has been so far operating on the basis of I don't like to say abstract, but we're really on a periodic basis. We've been meeting, seeing new alternatives, seeing new projects, publications. But now we want to go a little bit beyond. We want to actually, I don't like the word institutionalize, right? So we want to grow a little bit, not in as an institution, but as a led, student inclusive, activist inclusive entity that will be bringing more people together. But first of all, let's talk about the concepts we are having here. First of all, what is urban media, right? So the group's called Urban Media Participatory Spaces. What is urban media? So what do we consider? So we're considering everything, study, any of those things here. First of all, of course, the conventional wisdom, the received wisdom is urban media is something like representation of the city, so which is probably where we study at university, films, aesthetics, as we're discussing here, discourse, news, data, bureaucratic, legal, commemorative things, monuments, so everything that represents the city or is representing in the city, right? You can say, films, internet, TikTok. It's pretty much what we have been discussing here over the last hour. So this is a representation. So this is probably the body and soul of urban media. But our research group wants to also include other dimensions, more recent dimensions, especially when discussed about infrastructure, more about how the cities operate, the metabolism of the city, all the structures, the cameras, for instance. Students are always amazed when I say London is the top city in the world. It's the most cameras. You have 900,000 cameras in London. Like, it's just an absurd. And 90% of those cameras are private. So they're not government. So you can see that we as citizens, or people, not me myself, but people as citizens, they are co-opted to do that, to participate in this regime of hypervigilance, or ultra surveillance that we live. So this is also what we study in our research groups. We're talking about our research group. We are forming. And also code space, we're living pretty much in this era here of algorithms, of imaginaries, like how do we imagine new cities? How do you see, for example, the smart city, the green city, right? The feminist city, all these concepts, how does it come to actually impact this? So what kinds of spaces can we host those discussions and those symbols? So that's pretty much what we do. So those are the two kinds of research that this research center or this research group, first a group, probably a center in the future, is covering. So just to give you a glimpse of what we have been doing, as I said, in this ad hoc basis, we've been operating for actually over 2 years since we started our first research on graffiti. And this is the first one, like we've been discussing, of course, a lot. And I think I'm not going to tell you more about graffiti because I've been discussing so much. We've been a little bit tired of graffiti. But this is how we started, like how to mapping the city of Rome, seeing parts of graffiti, seeing how, for example, how radical graffiti, which is quite a wild tradition in Rome with decades of people, of writers, fathers of writers, grandfathers of writers, doing the same thing. So how this translates into social media. So this is just to give you an example, how those locations, for instance, where so radical locations become commercialized on Instagram, for instance. We discovered, for example, the most graffiti in Rome is represented on Instagram via commercial ways, like because tourists go to in front of a restaurant, they pose in a restaurant, and then that happens to have a graffiti behind them. So there we go, graffiti on social media. But it doesn't mean that the radical graffiti we had 50, 40 years ago, right? So we kind of neutralize politically the graffiti. So, but enough about our research. Let's not talk about our research, but just to give you an example, how do we engage with urban media and what kinds of questions do we do and pose in our research? We have also in the meantime, I discussed about Patrick nihilism, about Cicalone, but that's when I got the chance to meet those guys, Cicalone and others here, Welcome to Favelas, where other websites in Rome, how they translate social issues, degradation into text, into visuals, what kinds of computer vision, for example, platforms like Google, for instance, are they seeing this when they promote those posts? Or are they promoting an Instagram, for instance, of a garbage scene in Rome like this one? Is Google actually conscious of this if they are promoting this? And the answer is probably no, right? Because Google doesn't know that. So why is this so viral, right? So that's kinds of questions that I'm being asking. And of course, the right-wing coding of all this and the ways that people translate or read those issues of urban maintenance. More recently, the research group has been busy with showing more alternatives to it, which we call regenerative media for riverbanks. So this is a photo of ours. We are doing a visual research on mapping different scenes over Europe. So we are working with the riverbanks here in the Tiber, the Thames in London, of course, where I'm based, and the Tagus in Lisbon. Sorry, if it's been corrected. So we are comparing, because those three riverbanks have had different impacts using graffiti. 3 of them use graffiti. So London has probably the best case. There's a mural that after COVID, the people went to draw cards. So every single member family that were lost to COVID, they draw them hard just to tell the stories. So there was a positive engagement in graffiti. So graffiti leaves the space of criminality, of illegality, to become a community center initiative. And we are trying to see, at least we are still trying to see alternatives to this in Rome. For instance, here is it's very clear near here is this is close to Ponte Testaccio, and also in Lisbon, where was the case of ultra commercialization. So there was a mega privatization of the riverbank and Lisbon, and the businesses start to mock the so-called illegal graffiti. So instead of doing advertising, so they mock the writers to stimulate their language and sell products with that. So you can see the co-optation of a visual language to the commercialization. So those are some takeaways of our research. This is going to be published yet. It's not still published yet. This is the COVID Memorial in London that I just mentioned. But as I said, those are just some examples, and this is probably our most ambitious one. This is the Aesthetics of Digital Vigilantism, which is a special issue and a symposium we are finishing right now. And this is just the beginning. Tomorrow we have the full day, just saying. And towards participatory space. So this is when we are giving this leap to invite more people to join us. And this is the takeaway that I'm heading towards now. It's to not just to create the analysis or a lab to analyze urban media, which is great to analyze, but also to propose spaces that people can express themselves, can be themselves, and can actually escape those traps of algorithms and AI and so on that are living today. So we are intending to involve other members of communities, counselors. We are trying to, I started doing this in London already, to get more political expression, more, we had a counselor in London. I had the chance to discuss those things. We presented our research to a counselor in Rome, right? So last time, 2 years ago, with Isabella's conference, we had the first sense of feedback, what they think. It's just, I think it's not positive. They just don't get academic sometimes, but that's our challenge, right? To translate with our knowledge into practicality. So we want to create also the sense of algorithm interface, data infrastructure. I think there's very little of it. There's a lot of technology, but little how do we embody those technologies? For instance, glasses with cameras, those things are really interesting. How do we interpret this critically, right? So how do we use this also for the benefit of people? We are involving scholars from the UK, Italy so far, but we want to expand, and that's where I'm heading, as I said. So our proposal is to gather colleagues from different higher education institutions, but also activists, charity workers, social organizations, of everybody who could actually give us a contribution to the study and to the initiatives. We want to establish our routines. We want to feed each other's networks to give more. Also, a help. Sometimes we struggle, like to do all this that we're doing is not easy. And I believe for your side, as are your own initiatives, you know very well how it is to research, especially in intensification and neoliberalization of the higher education institutions today. So you see how hard it is to do all those things. So if we do together, the idea is that we share and conquer. We're using this as pretty much our temporary mission so far, giving back to the city to approximate academia from those initiatives, from really getting more into the project level. So what we want actually is to gather more efforts, to get more funds, research grants. We want to bring more radical action into student-led realities. We didn't speak much about teaching, but I think this is also comes through teaching. Eleanor has really an article about teaching urban media, teaching that kind of studies are very challenging, even though there's a lot of interest, but you probably can even say more than me on this. Also, the escalate is AI washing narratives, because everything is AI today, and because what I do is expected to be AI, what you do is expected to be AI. The city itself is AI, like AI, there are functions today that you can erase people from pictures. I did it actually. I tried research because my photos look so good, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a very critical thing to do, right? So how can you erase people from photos? But this is just a very tiny thing in a broader scenario of quite changing media environment and the urban media environment. So we also, this is for our funders and fund giving. They're all asking us what's our sustainable development goals according to United Nations. So this is some of the sustainable development goals we match. This was an assessment I did. So just to finish my presentation, my short presentation, what we want to do, and so what, Helton? So what do you want us to do after all of this that I said, right? So actually, those are the next steps that we're going to take, is to start meeting on a monthly basis. And I think everyone is invited to join. I want to create joint research proposals. I think that's a scenario. I think, especially in the UK, I think I missed a lot of opportunities because I don't have structure. I think probably, I'm not sure in your case, but very hard to get students or others to create those proposals on a timely basis and submit them for our projects. Setting up a series of events. This is just the first one, but I hope to get many more, and should be international, should be North and Global South together. It should be different directions, feminist, intersectional. We should integrate our activities. As you saw, we are trying to integrate what we are doing right now embed and blend with the group just because we can strengthen each other. So it doesn't need to be your, of course, you're not stealing your ownership, it's still you and it's still your merit, but just if you concatenate with the group, I think we all gain, we all strengthen each other. I have applied to sponsorship of an institution. So I'm applying to be hosted at the university where I work. So right now, as much of the higher education in the UK, we're in a terrible crisis. I'm not sure if you heard about it. It's a huge crisis, several redundancies. So my university is under restructuring, but as soon as we land again into a new structure, so I hope they still want me because the feedback was very positive. But also I'd like to open an invitation for you. This should be rotational. Also, I'd like not to be just stuck with us in London, but to be a traveling research group that many institutions, including here, to be hosted and to be getting colleagues and students in all community. I think that's probably not so far-fetched vision, is it? So I think that should be the idea. And that's it. It's just like my pitch to you. Like if you want to join us, I think that'll be a great thing to do. All you have to do is just to scan this and fill a short form. That's just to know more about you, your ambitions, and then we can start meeting. I have the intention to meet. We didn't discuss that yet, but probably August, September after classes, after we stabilize our teaching schedules, just to start meeting on a periodic basis. I think there's a lot going on. And I'm open for questions. Actually, this is just an invitation, walking through what I'm saying. But there's so much more to be said. And you guys, hybrid yourselves on the internet. If you want to also add any questions or any intentions or any clarifications, don't need to commit yourself. I don't want you to expose yourself, but feel free to go to either this. There is also a link, so if you don't get to read this barcode, there is also in our booklet to the event, there is a link to a Google site. But if you say, well, I've had enough of barcodes, just send us an email and then it's also good. Okay? So any questions, anyone? I'm really happy to answer or any kind of Eleanor, yourself, please.
Maybe we can have a nice discussion.
Yes, over aperitif. Yeah. Yeah. But I was trying to speak with the hybrid because they're not here. Yeah. But guys, if you can raise a glass for us as well for our hybrids.
Time zone.
Exactly, regardless of time zone. I know some of you are in Argentina and other countries, so feel free to do so. Any questions, anything? So if you don't, that's fine. Some people are writing. Yes, please, Nicola, please raise a glass. We'll be together again, I hope around 9 o'clock here, 8 o'clock in the UK. If you don't get at 8 o'clock, I totally get it. It was pretty early over there. So try to be slightly late on purpose for those who are joining us in different locations. If you want to join us tomorrow, it'll be great. We're going to have topics like AI. We're going to have more gender in digital vigilantism and the future of the subject. Okay. And we have, of course, your presentations like Yutaka. We have other folks join us with very interesting case studies and case making on digital vigilantism. And we want to leave this event with a proposal for the future as well. Like, what do we want to do with all this discussions? Are we just terrified? Like, do we have anything to propose, right? So that's one or two. Of course we do. And I want to hear from you. What do we do with all this wealth of knowledge that we are acquiring here with so many cases and so many things to discuss? Okay, so I want to appreciate your patience again. And tomorrow we'll be here. So no technical issues tomorrow, no excuse. But of course we are in Rome, so everything is possible. But I'm just kidding, we'll be all fine. And any final remarks, Laura, for today? Anything else to say?
I'd like to thank everyone who presented, especially but attended. I think it was a very nice session.